Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week with the edit. This is our weekly roundup of new sewing pattern releases. I've got some good stuff this week actually, I'm quite excited to tell you about. So I'm gonna get cracking. So to start with, we've got a new designer on the site, which we are really excited about. It's a bag designer, not new to the kind of world of sewing, but new to us. They're called Noodlehead. They're they're really well known, but we don't have loads of bag patterns. We weren't really sure whether bags were things that people would want to make, so we thought we'd give it a go and see what people think. I thought these were really beautiful and we were really excited about having them. So there are 18 different patterns from Noodlehead that we've got. I'm going to talk to you about my favourite, which is the buckthorn backpack and tote. I think this is such a useful bag. The thing I was thinking about bags, which is so great, is they're really fantastic gifts for people. You can use up your leftover fabrics. They don't use up loads of fabrics and actually don't have any fit issues. So really, they're a bit of a win. They're quite nice to have like on the go alongside other sewing projects, I can imagine. Right, so this rucksack. So as I said, you can make it as a backpack or you can make it as a tote. It's really lovely shape. I think the proportions of this are really fantastic. There are two different sizes you can see, a slightly bigger and smaller. The tote version has straps that kind of go all the way up from the bottom up to the top. The backpack one obviously have straps that you then put over your shoulder, and they've also got hardware on it so that you can alter the length of the strap, which is really important. There are internal pockets inside as well, so you can, which is really handy, you can find everything. They have definitely kind of marketed it as a bag that you use for sewing projects, so you could have, or a knitting project, so you could have your sewing stuff in there. But I definitely think you could use this as a school bag or for a work bag. It just to me seemed like a really good shape. It's also got a pocket on the outside, which is fantastic too. But there are loads of other really good ones. So I think if you're feeling like you want to change things up a little bit and make something new, then this is definitely worth having a look at. The other one that I really love is the making backpack. So this is another rucksack pattern, but it's slightly more boxy. It's also got a big external pocket on the back. It's got little tabs so that you can hold it like a tote bag as well. They're just really nice, kind of really nicely clever thought out patterns. So I think if you're feeling like you'd like a little bit of a change of direction from dressmaking, or just want to try something new, they're definitely worth going and having a look at. So up next we have got, I thought I should mention FiberMood, a whole new, so I don't know if I've ever said this, so the FiberMood magazine came out, which I spoke about last week, and once that is released, the patterns that were in the last season's magazine are then released as PDF patterns. It's quite confusing, but so that has just happened. So the patterns that were in the last magazine have just been released as PDFs. So if you wanted to buy them just as a standalone PDF pattern, you can, or you just want one, not the whole magazine. So they're now available. The pattern that I think is so good and gorgeous is the Viva dress. I don't know if you guys had seen it. It's got this gorgeous square neckline. It's quite kind of relaxed fit. It comes in sizes 6 to 30, this one. It's available as PDF, but you can also have copy shop. Fabrications for this, I would say, are kind of pretty much anything woven for this. You could make this in a viscose, you can make this in a cotton, you can make it in linen. I mean, really the world is your oyster for this one. So I think it's definitely worth going and having a look at if you're feeling like you'd like to make another dress. Quite a lot of the patterns feel quite summery, but if you're planning a holiday, like some winter sun, or you're the other side of the world, and it's now summertime, these are definitely worth going and having a look at. So go and have a look, because there are about, I think there are like 15 of them, so they're definitely worth going and having a look. There's some good ones. There is a new collection that's just been released from Butterick. So there are about 12 patterns that have just come out, which is really exciting. One thing I will say, that just as a sort of side note when you're going to look at them, because simplicity, well, they're all owned by one company, yet they're all run separately, and everything is a bit confusing. So I just wanted to point out that quite a lot of these patterns, they're split, the size banding is split into separate patterns, which is unusual because all their other ones are in 2 bandings. But if I show you, for example, the Butterick 6890 and the Butterick 6891, those are actually exactly the same pattern, they're just in different size bandings, but they're labelled as different styles. So if you have looked at, and also just to add kind of confusion to the whole thing, quite a lot of them are photographed, different styles of photograph, but it's actually the same pattern. So let me just show you, for example, the 6895 and the 6896. If you looked at those, you would think that they were different patterns, but they're actually the same pattern, 2 different variations, but different size bandings. So that is very confusing, and I just wanted to point that out, because if you've gone to look at one and think, oh, I really like this, but it's not in my size, actually if you go back and look at the one next to it, that one should be the right size. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. And just to add confusion to this, you know, multiple things, it's not on every pattern, it's on some of the patterns. I don't understand, but that is that. There are also some really cute little kids patterns as well. Especially I thought this little tiered shirt dress was absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, definitely worth going and having a look at the Butterick collection. A little service announcement, not a new pattern, but I thought worth mentioning. Chalk and Notch, who have fantastic patterns if you haven't come across them before. They released the Evelyn skirt and the Max T this summer. They were really popular. The Max T in particular I really love. I think it's a really great t-shirt shape, and it's quite an interesting cut, which is unusual for a t-shirt. You can see it's kind of loose fitting, it's got that high neck and it's sleeveless. They have released paper versions of these patterns, so if you have been thinking about them and thinking, yeah, I don't want the PDF, they're now available in paper, so you can get them there. And then last but not least on the public service announcement, Kylie and the Machine sewing labels. If you haven't come across them before, they are fantastic labels that you can sew into your handmade makes. We've just got a new load of them in, some new styles and some restocks of things that have been out, including the really rude sweary ones, which I personally love. But there are some new styles in there and some collaborations. They've done a collaboration with Claire Ritchie, which are really kind of gorgeous and colourful. So if you're thinking you need to add something fun to the inside of your garments, go check them out. There's loads of them, and there's also tins that you can keep them in. I mean, there's a whole paraphernalia of stuff that you can pick from. So that is it this week. I hope that was useful, and we will be back soon with another video. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.